Alright troops, what's this? Another video already? As you can see from the images, we're out and about down at the old regular Koelschip Yard. Koelschip Yard, we're putting on a tasting night with Crossover Blendery. So it would have been rude not to go down and grab a chat with George. Please subscribe, like, comment. A lot of people watch these videos and don't subscribe. It's free to subscribe. If you could give us a wee sub or even a wee like, it'd be very much appreciated. So we did taste 7 beers this night. Can't go into them all, but let's just say it was an amazing night. Great food, great hospitality, great host, and a very great talk from George himself. Although he was a wee bit late in turning up, wasn't he, Gareth? Cheers for that, mate. But yeah, let's get down to it. Alright troops, how we doing? We've got a special guest up from England on the show tonight. Just for the troops, can you introduce yourself please?
Hi everyone, I'm George and I am from Crossover Blendery in Hertfordshire in the UK.
Fantastic, thanks for coming on, George. I know you've been busy with meetings today. It never stops for a brewer, does it?
No, it doesn't, no. Well, I'm one of two, so it's myself and Charlie who set the business up. And so I'm here in Scotland doing some tastings, meeting some brewers, meeting bar owners, and Charlie's unfortunately back in England working away. So
Charlie's doing all the hard
Someone's got to do some work.
So you touched on it there. We are actually at Koelschip tonight, so a big shout out to Jenna, Alex, and of course Dawn from Koelschip for setting this up. We're here for a sold out tasting for Crossover Blendery this evening. So on this part of the video, we're not going to talk about the beers in terms of the taste. We might get a wee footage of that later on. So first things first, a viewer question from Hot Panic, a bit of an aficionado. He's a collaborator on the channel. Can you tell us a wee bit about your history with brewing for me please, George?
Yeah, sure. So I'm not a brewer. Charlie isn't a brewer either. We have a blendery, meaning we brew the wort elsewhere. We don't own any brew kit at the blendery. We just have a big barn for the barrels. But the idea is the wort, the unfermented beer, is created elsewhere. We then take the wort and we allow the wort to ferment in our barrels and mature in our barrels. So we basically oversee all the fermentation, the maturation, the fruiting, the dry hopping, and the bottling. So I don't have a background in brewing, and neither does Charlie, my business partner. We're really interested in the brewing side of things, but I guess what we focus on is the blending. We're a beer blendery, so all of the blending of the barrels is the stuff that we're kind of interested in.
100%. You've kind of answered loads of questions I had for you.
Sorry.
No, don't apologise. Not at all.
Because go into more detail.
No. I tell you what it is. Just can you tell me where Crossover Blendery is based?
Sure. Yeah. So we're based in just north of Stevenage in North Hertfordshire. We're on a farm. We're in a big barn. We've got about 200 barrels full at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah. It's not a crazy amount. We use larger format barrels, so we use 400 and 500 litre barrels rather than your normal 225 or 227 litre barrels. All of ours are ex-wine, but you need a lot of space for barrel aging. So it's one of the reasons that we're on a farm and we're in an old agricultural barn. It just enables us to have more floor space to age these barrels rather than coming to a more expensive urban environment where you're tighter on space.
Yep. So it sounds absolutely massive, the actual premises.
It's not huge. We're taking a section of the barn, but we have room to expand into more of the barn. But yes, for the amount of room that we take floor space wise, you could fit quite a large brewery and you could produce a huge amount of beer. We only produce a very small amount of beer every year. But it's because we're aging the beer in barrels for multiple years. So a lot of our stock is tied up in the barrel for many years. A normal brewery, you're turning that over very, very quickly. So it's different.
Indeed. So you're not a normal brewer then, as you said, it's a blendery. Now it isn't just easy. You don't just I'm just going to grab that and I'm just going to go and grab that. I'm assuming that you're relying on a lot, I don't know if it's local breweries or other breweries throughout the UK to actually supply you with the actual the wort, etc.?
Sure. So we use Elgood's. Elgood's are a very old brewery based in North Cambridgeshire. The reason that we work with Elgood's on our wort production is we use their cooling trays or their coolships. We don't add any yeast or bacteria to our beer, so the fermentation is all natural. And when you're producing beers like this, beers of spontaneous fermentation, you have to be able to inoculate the wort in the open. And to do that, we use Elgood's cooling trays. I won't go into the specifics of the brew process, but that's one of the reasons why we use them as a brewery, or we work with them as a brewery. They're one of the few breweries in operation in the UK that have these cooling trays. But we only get our wort from Elgood's. In the future, we'd like to get our wort from other breweries, but at the moment, it's just Elgood's.
100%. It sounds really interesting as well. Now, one of the things that I love about sorry, we will link to you, obviously, George, the website, etc. Throughout the video. But one of the things I love is just looking at your initial list is it's very fruity. And I believe Alex had asked about some local businesses in terms of the ingredients that you maybe add to this, the kind of fruits, etc. Can you tell a wee bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of the beers that we make are fruited. They are fruited with fresh British fruit. We sometimes use frozen fruit from previous seasons, but it's quite important to use fruit from the season it's grown in. So we don't use any purees or any concentrates. We only handle fresh British fruit. After the beer is aged in barrel for a certain period of time, normally a minimum of a year, we then put the beer onto fruit in tank, and it'll then re-ferment on the fruit. We try to extract as much flavour and colour from the fruit over a period of months of re-fermentation, and then we blend back with further beer stock and we bottle it up. But yes, fruits is a big part of the beers that we produce, and it's a very important part of the beers we produce. We have a direct relationship with the growers and the farmers that grow the fruit. We're very open about where the fruit comes from, what areas of the UK, and the idea behind it is, this fruit has provenance. It's important to help the British fruit growing industry, but also it produces the best beer. Like, in our opinion, using other forms of fruiting types in your beer, whether it be purees or concentrates, we don't get as good a results. And if it takes you years to make a beer, why would you then take a shortcut and use something like that when you could use this incredible fruit that we grow in this country that often isn't massively expensive, but you'll get the best beer out of it.
Excellent. So I have to ask, you've mentioned fruit there. Fruit obviously being a very seasonal thing. So I'd imagine, does the type of fruit, and does that kind of dictate sometimes about what you maybe release at certain times of the year, or when it's actually barrelled? Does that have a kind of impact on your schedule, I suppose?
Our schedule is all over the place because of that very reason. We only brew in the winter months because for various reasons, but we basically have a window of about 5 months that we can brew in, and we can only fruit obviously in the summer months. It's quite difficult. We have very intense periods of bottling or blending and bottling our beers, because all the fruit beers are normally ready before Christmas, and you've then got to blend them and bottle them up. So we don't have this regularity of brewing and packaging like a normal brewery. For us, it's seasonal, which sounds like a bit of a cliche, but it is very true to what we do. There's certain periods of the year that are specific to our process, which means we're very busy doing certain things. It means our schedule is kind of all over the place compared to a normal brewery.
So I can see why. Now, I was lucky enough to have the Vines dry hopped golden ale. I'd actually shout out to JB, who'd actually purchased a Magnum in here one night, then decided he didn't want it, ended up purchasing it off him. Now it actually it sat here for around about 6 months, George, before we actually tanned it.
Oh, nice.
It was absolutely stunning, I have to say. It's really kind of fermented in the bottle. So as well as the kind of barrel stuff you do, came in for at least a year. it really does kind of come to life within the bottle. And I really like the fact the sell-by on it was like...
It's 20 years.
Aye, 20 years. So it's, you know, I dare say it's a beer that you could maybe collect. You know, it's going to, if you buy 2 bottles of it, you might have one now, and you might have one in a year's time, and it's going to be different tasting as well. So I ask everyone, apart from, in fact, sorry, have you got a tap room or anything like that, George?
Yes, yeah, we do. So we opened a tap room last year for the first time. We ran it from April till December.
Brilliant.
And we're reopening the tap room on the 31st of March. So the last Friday of this month, when we're filming this. And it'll be open from then on every Friday to Sunday for the future. So yeah, we're based on the farm, but we've got Stevenage, Letchworth Garden City, Hitchin, Baldock. There are plenty of places you can get a train to, which is near the farm. You can get a bus, you can walk, you can get a taxi, and it's a really lovely place for a beer. It's unique. You know, you can come and have a drink amongst the barrels. And it's a really lovely, calm space. Families are welcome, dogs are welcome, everyone's welcome.
It sounds amazing. It sounds very idyllic, and we will link to all the. Maybe try and link to the stations, etc. for you as well, George. I was going to ask you as well. Apart from the tap room, I mean, I did know, for example, I'll get in trouble for saying this. I did notice you had a good wee page on beer merchants, for example.
Yes.
But apart from the tap room and beer merchants, where else can people expect to purchase your product?
Yeah, we sell in shops up and down the country. You know, you can buy from us online on our web shop, and you can buy in our tap room for the best selection. You know, in our tap room we literally have older stock going back probably from the beginning. So if you want the best stock, I'd say come to our tap room. If that's not possible, go to our web shop. But also we sell up and down the country. So most cities should have our beers. Yeah,
well, I know you had a few meetings today. I know Neil, you'd popped in to see Neil. And I know you'd been to see Gareth. You know, I'm not wanting to kind of allude to anything, but I hope those meetings went well, and I hope maybe something might happen in the future. You don't know.
Never know.
But mum's the word on that. Now, ask all my guests, George. I will say normally we would taste a beer on this, but I'm going to partake in the tasting session tonight, which we're getting 7 to try 7 thirds, I believed.
Yes.
And you're going to talk us through some of these, I believe, are kind of vintagey, crossover, and I think we might have some kind of fresher ones as well. So that's going to be great. I do, when I've spoke to like Gareth before from Apocal, he's always said to me, you know, it tastes great now, but wait till you taste it in 6 months or in a year's time. And part of the fun about your style, the Spawn style, I'm calling it Spawn, spontaneous fermentation, is how it improves with age. So am I right in saying there is some kind of older ones that Koelschip had held back past?
Yeah. So tonight we'll be trying some beers from last year, which is amazing because I wish we could hold on to our beer for longer and then release it. But we do normally give it like a minimum 6 months before we release. But you're right, it develops in the bottle. And you know, with fruit beers, you run the risk of a lot of the fruit coming off. But I do find that our beer hits its strides sort of a year onwards. So yeah, these beers will develop in the bottle. They will change, and other characteristics will come through over time. So if you are to buy them, you know, we always say get a couple, drink one now. They're always ready to drink when we release them, but they'll always develop over time. But yeah, it's cool that we can try some older bottles, because for us, we sell pretty much everything that we have. So I rarely actually get to drink the older stuff. So it's as cool as it is for me as it is for the people coming, because I haven't drunk a lot of those in a while. And you're doing a wee whistle stop tour of Scotland, I believe, as well. We're going to Aberdeen tomorrow, and then doing Dundee and Edinburgh on Friday.
Brilliant. Have you got any other wee plans down in England before the tap room opens again? Anywhere else you're going before that? We've got Charlie's doing tastings this week. Belgian and Blues Bar down in Southampton. I think I might have got that wrong. We do a lot of tastings, so we're always getting them in the diary, and then we've got a lot of festivals this summer as well. Brilliant.
So we'll hopefully be in more people's faces and getting more people to drink these beers.
Yep. So the last thing I've got to ask is something that I ask every brewery that comes on, or blendery now, that comes on the show, is you've got one beer to drink for the rest of your life. You're stranded on a desert island. What would it be, George?
I think it'll probably be 2 beers. So I've grown up drinking cask ale, and it's very difficult to choose a cask ale that I think is best. I do think Harvey's Sussex Best is a beer that I would take to my grave and be happy to drink when it's fresh.
Wow.
But I'm also, Charlie and I obviously very, influenced by the Lambic producers. So Lambic Gers is a beer that I was introduced to at an earlier age, which has led to the setup of what we're doing. So a good Gers, there are many producers, so I can't name one, but a good Gers that's had good age, that's delicious, I would drink for the rest of the time.
Brilliant.
Every day if I had the opportunity.
Brilliant. And then you've got the Harveys there just to sesh on the side.
Yeah, just both actually.
Palate cleanser, sesh.
Just both, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Listen, I won't keep you back. There's a lot of people waiting to try out the beers. I can't wait myself. So, George, thanks for now. And check out Crossover Blendery trips.
Lovely.
Cheers, George.
Thank you very much. Cheers. It's bizarre, like it's a terrifying process, and when we first started doing it, it's like we were in this big barn, it was insulated, it was still very much an agricultural unit, we were filling up the barrels, nothing was fermenting, and we were just like, what the fuck have we just done? Like maybe the Belgians are right and it doesn't actually happen outside of the Python land and all that crap. And we were erecting like gazebos and tents over the barrels and heating them up, and then like surely enough within a few days they were fermenting. We were like, okay, like don't try and ferment a barrel when it's 4 degrees in the barn. Which funny enough now they ferment at that temperature, which is fascinating.
You made that mistake?
Any plans to do any like collabs with people? Have you done collabs with people? Would that be difficult?
Very difficult.
Yeah.
We were looking at collabs even from when we started, and bar one with Northern Monk that we haven't. Well, we blended it. We haven't bottled it. Northern Monk. Yeah.
Of all the people,
I know,
that's not what I was expecting.
It's because I went to their festival and they've got their barrel program. So we did a blend there. I don't think they bottled it. And then they were coming down to a beer thing in London.
That's Northern Monk telling you to stop talking.
They came down.
Timmy's on his way up.
So yeah, a good night was had by all. It was a proper old school night in Koelschip. You know, it was good to see the old faces, Edwy Beer Shop, Redmond's, with the old Captain's Rest, which is now the Hug and Pine. We had some boys over for Harriet War, other brewers were there, Gareth. Jake Balls Appreciation, shout out to Jake Balls. Good to see you guys as always, and as you can see from these images, the beers were just stunning. I mean, the action on the beer was just phenomenal. If you get a chance to try Crossover, I would heartily recommend it. As I said earlier in the video, I had a bottle, been sitting for 6 months, me and a bag of cans tanned it one night, and it was stunning. So it was. Quick word from our sponsors here who are giving away free dog biscuits. As you can see, Bold Baxter. Did he like the dog biscuit? That's the question. Let's have a wee look. Of course he did. He loved it. In fact, he loved it that much that he ran to his scratcher, so he did, and hid it. Quality dog biscuits at Koelschip, indeed. As there was a great wee spread, brilliant beers, and I'll end this off with a shout out to the Harriet Watt Young team. Who knows, maybe they'll appear on the channel one day. That would be great. Cheers, troops.